Hello.
Hello. Good morning. Good good noon.
Good afternoon. It's
Good.
afternoon.
Yeah, it's afternoon.
Yeah. How you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm back in Berlin after a short weekend outside of Berlin. So yeah.
How was that?
Yeah, it was good. I was traveling with train. I was all by myself in the train. So that was quite good having, this kind of traveling feels something different nowadays for sure.
Yeah.
But no, it went well. I came home very late, and yeah, being a bit of a home alone for a couple of days feels also a bit strange from going from full noise to
Yeah.
this kind of full control of your day. So yesterday evening, I was scheduling my day today because I have so much things on my to-do list. So yeah, but I could really schedule in, like I know exactly when I'm going to go up, and I know exactly I'm going to go on the rower. So I did some rowing intervals in the morning,
Nice.
jumped in the shower, and then breakfast, and then getting here.
And are you able to like stick to like that kind of like minute to minute schedule when you're by yourself?
Yeah, yes and no. So it's not like minute, but I have my like to-dos in those hours.
Hour to hour. That's what I meant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I can commit to that. Yeah.
Nice.
But like if it would be, for example, I didn't put in like a specific rowing workout that I have to do of 40 minutes or whatever, but I did 10 minutes today with rowing intervals just to kind of wake up a bit. But I actually had running / rowing, and it was pouring rain in the morning. So I took the rower.
Yeah.
And yeah, 10 minutes of that, and you feel awesome. And, okay, then I have X amount of minutes for, taking a shower, maybe reading some news, and, checking also bit to do's, like remind myself, like what am I doing today? So,
Yeah.
no, so pretty okay. And yeah, like today's schedule ends sometime at 11 p.m. So it is yeah. I need like there. I have no food at home. Well, I have 1 kilo of meat, but yeah, I need to go like grocery shopping. I need to just have that in my schedule today, because otherwise, I don't know when I'm going to do it. So.
And you're done the carnivore.
No, I'm continuing.
Oh, you're continuing. Okay.
I had 1 day kind of off. I had yesterday. I had some cake for my daughter's birthday.
Oh, happy birthday!
I'll let her know. No, so that was yeah. What is it? 33 days of carnivore.
Okay.
Then I had some apple pie yesterday, and yeah, now I'm back on track.
Back to the meat. All right.
Meat and eggs.
Meat and eggs.
Some dairy. Yeah.
Nice. Cool. Very cool. Well, today we have a kind of a random bunch of topics we're going to cover. I'm going to ask a bunch of questions, kind of like a grab bag. And but the first thing we were talking about is the difference between CrossFit and Hyrox. And I really hope that I'm pronouncing that correctly. I assume that I am. I really assume that I am, but it could be pronounced Hyrox, or would Germans pronounce it any different? Or the Swedes, or
I think it's made in Germany.
It's made in Germany, right? Yeah.
So I think they would go for Hyrox.
Okay.
Like in the States, it would be Hyrox, I guess, too.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, sounds pretty.
All right,
cool.
Good. Well, why don't you dive in and tell us the difference, or first, what is it? Not the difference. What is it?
So what is it? Well, CrossFit, CrossFit, we hopefully kind of know, but we can go into that too. Let's start with Hyrox. Hyrox is it's an well, it started as an event, but I think it's also designed to be a bit bigger than an event. And like, I might be totally wrong here, but this is kind of my impression of it. This came out of the birth of from like it comes from an event agency, so it's not like somebody was at home doing Hyrox and it spread to the world.
Right.
It was a desktop designed thing by an event manager or agency who has been doing a lot of different events, but one of the biggest ones was Ironman. And I think like, again, I'm not 100% sure about this, but I think Ironman is kind of had lost a bit of this of its, I don't know, highlights and glory times. And they were probably looking for something new. And then they saw this like huge urge of high intensity building up in like all of the world, really. So it kind of started with CrossFit. And back in the days when you started with CrossFit, it was like the high intensity stuff was just like unknown of, like, wow, well, you can do this amount of volume, you can do these kind of things, crazy, and it makes you really fit. And back in those days, if you open like a CrossFit affiliate, it was the only thing in town that really had that. So we had 300-500 people showing up to that place. And yeah, the general fitness industry then started to like the general fitness industry has been not struggling a lot, but like trying to find new angles. They always do. And there's something coming up here, we're losing maybe some market to this. And they started with their own high intensity stuff in the studios. And then you have the other ones like the boot camps and the Barrys, the whatever they're called. Like in the States, you have, I don't know, it's called the Eat the Frog, and it's called Orange Theory F45. And I guess some of these like spinning studios also moving into this, like you're spinning and then you're doing some dumbbell stuff and burpees. So everyone is kind of on this high intensity bandwagon. And then these event creators, they thought like, there seems to be maybe a void between the Barry's boot camp guys and the CrossFit Games guys.
Okay.
At the same time, you also have these like Spartan races and what's the other race, big race called, whatever. And yeah, obstacle races, of course. And so how can you, those are kind of not so easy to monitor, and like to the overview from media and stuff like that, it's a bit harder. So what can you do kind of in a smaller event scene and manage better and blah blah blah. So they created the Hyrox. This is my perception, but they created this because it's a fitness event you can monitor pretty well. And they conveniently call this the champion of fitness or something like that. And they also, so right now they're doing something called a virtual champion of fitness. Or so they're using the acronyms of VCF. And I don't know if this is intentional, but it looks a bit like intentional that you get the CF, the CrossFit acronym, into it too. So they obviously want to be borrowing as much light from the CrossFit scene as possible. And there's a lot of CrossFitters doing Hyrox. But yeah, so they have these championships, and they kind of move from city to city and so on. And you can do Hyrox in many facilities, like in CrossFit gyms. You can do it in like in global gyms too. They started to have that too, and you can license yourself as a Hyrox gym and do their kind of programs or workouts.
Okay.
And yeah, so they have like all this stuff, and they have partners and so on. Like I don't know exactly which brands they have partnered with, but yeah, it's a fitness event, and creating this kind of stronger brand around it makes people want to belong to this kind of Hyrox community. And looking at it too, if we look at then what's the difference between this and CrossFit? Well, Hyrox, CrossFit has started as a training method.
Okay. Yeah.
And has nothing to do with really a competition.
Right.
Has to do with health and fitness, and looking into people's general health and so on. But what CrossFit also has, it's you have the method, you have the ideas behind how this creates superhuman fitness, kind of. And where we look at working on all the different 10 categories of fitness, basically. And if you look at those categories, CrossFit kind of delivers, and on all those spectrums. You have the neurological parts, which are balance, agility, and those ones. And then you have the more biological and your muscles, so to say. Yeah, we have the strength, we have mobility or flexibility, and so on. And all these together create power and speed. And that's what we're measuring in CrossFit, like how much load over distance you can travel, and blah blah blah. And if you look at now the difference between Hyrox and CrossFit, Hyrox, if you look at the workouts from Hyrox, not the championships, but they also have workouts on their homepage. They are very much just like a CrossFit workout. They can be 20 wall balls and 20 burpees for 5 rounds or so. So yeah, that could be a CrossFit workout, right? And you can have all these different workouts. It might be 5 pull-ups and so on. I actually don't know if they have any pull-ups in their programs. I'm just making this up, but I would assume they have that. But let's say they have push-ups and squats at least. So what's the difference between that and CrossFit, really? What they don't have is there's no real strength component in this. So they have some lighter strength, I would say. Like in the championships, they're doing some farmers carries and pulls, and very light, like they're doing wall balls, so that's one form of weight, but it's very lightweight, right? So if we look at the different energy systems that we're talking about, everything in Hyrox is in the aerobic energy system. It's everything is more or less conditioning, is cardio, is endurance. And that's great. Like that's one of the parts that CrossFit also does. That's why you have these things. But there's not so much of the anaerobic strength and energy system. So is that bad or worse? Like, well, it's if you do a lot of Hyrox, you're gonna get super good at that domain,
Right.
like endurance, probably. But your anaerobic strength will be, the better you get at Hyrox, in the long term, you will get weaker in those anaerobic stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the difference, if you are very good at the anaerobic stuff, you're going to still be kicking ass in the, like many of the aerobic stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And, yeah, that's one of the aspects. And then like the second aspect, I would say, is the neurological aspect of it. So if you look at Hyrox compared to CrossFit now, is that CrossFit, utilizes much more high skilled thing. And it's not really like CrossFit is doing the highest skills out there, but still, some of the more things that are definitely like a bit harder.
Mm-hmm.
We say just like a muscle up or handstand
Mm-hmm.
walks. Well, those are pretty. Like when they came out, that was pretty hard,
Mm-hmm.
and most people just can't even get to that,
Mm-hmm.
because that requires a lot of practice and
Mm-hmm.
not only training.
Mm-hmm.
You need to practice on those skills to become better, and the better you get at those skills, well, it turns out you're going to get better power output, better flexibility, mobility, and
Mm-hmm.
and so on. And it's it's challenging for your brain,
Mm-hmm.
really. It's not challenging in the same way as endurance, where you're in your inner fight in that sense, but it's like you need to control a certain movement. And what CrossFit Games has been doing is like throwing in more and more complex stuff, and that's been always in the, let's say, the anatomy of CrossFit is to have skill progression,
Mm-hmm.
constantly like improve your skills. And not
Mm-hmm.
only, that's why you have some barbell movements and Olympic weightlifting, which is super, it's simple but super complex,
Mm-hmm.
to get a really heavy weight overhead. It's not, it's like you can be super strong. You can see that like the world's strongest men, you can deadlift X thousands kilos, no, but like 500 kilos of the floor.
Right.
But that guy can't lift 80% of like the max lift of a weightlifter.
Mm-hmm.
Why is that? Well, it requires technique. That's
Mm-hmm.
the lifting something off the floor to your hip also requires some technique, but
Mm-hmm.
it's not like the highest skill level
Mm-hmm.
needed. But yeah, to become really good at snatching something overhead, well, that requires a lot of practice.
Yeah.
And you're going to get pretty damn strong too. Like the strongest weightlifters are not, they're not very weak in comparison to strongmen in that
Right.
sense. At least if you look at like weight category wise, so their deadlifts are crazy strong, back squats and everything, and their mobility is definitely much better.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like one thing that is ingrained in the CrossFit method.
Mm-hmm.
And that means that when you get good at muscle ups, well, then we're going to start to look at, can you do a muscle up yourself, and then do a handstand on the rings?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you can do a handstand. Can you do handstand push-ups on the rings? And can you combine those, do muscle up to a handstand push-up on the rings? And or yeah, can you do it with one hand? Like there's like no stop in the progressions there. And Hyrox is by design, I think, leaving those things out,
Okay.
because it is much more inclusive if you
Right.
have simple movements that require less skills.
Mm-hmm.
That means a lot of more people will be able to participate.
Mm-hmm.
Like most people can definitely run 1K, even if it's slow, that's fine. You can do some rowing. Everyone can row. You can, most people can even do wall balls, even though that's probably closest to the skills you get, because you can't squat below parallel.
Right.
I don't know if that's a rule even, but I would guess they have those rules.
Yeah.
But yeah, so most people can do like the Hyrox workouts like that, and it's if you're really fit in that sense, like your endurance is and stamina is high, you can push yourself incredibly hard, for sure, and be on your max threshold of your endurance for sure, but you're never challenging your max
Yeah.
strength and max, let's say, a balance and agility
So kind of
requirements.
all in all, it because of its inclusive nature, you don't have to be in the elite kind of category to be able to participate in these events.
No, exactly. So
Okay.
yeah, I don't know again exactly how it is, but you can participate, you can be in those events, and they want to sell tickets to these events. And now like if you look at how CrossFit developed, is like, well, it never started with an event, it started with training,
Right.
and then it developed into 10 years later, like somebody came up with the idea, what if we just would test each other against each other, like, okay. And then it developed from that, and then at some point they realized like the qualification system they had was like just messy. So okay, what if we just threw out like an open workout where you can do that from your gym, and then we take the top persons from that. And this is kind of the part where CrossFit also, when it started, was this fringe movement, it still is, of like, okay, the scaled version in CrossFit is also already, for some people, just too much.
Right.
And so this year they they came up with another scaling option too. So there's going to be kind of 3 categories in the open. So yeah, that could be interesting, and making it also a bit more inclusive.
Yeah.
And like how I would see something like Hyrox is that you can get very good at Hyrox, and from there you probably need to, and if you want to really test your fitness, well, then next step is probably trying to get good at like CrossFit. You don't have to, like, you can be best at Spartan race or Ironman, whatever, but like if you really want to test the limit of your fitness, then I still think CrossFit is the ultimate test in that sense.
That kind of leads me to, and you kind of answered it a little bit, but maybe you could talk about the difference between the training methodology in CrossFit versus the sport of CrossFit. So because I think people get them mixed up.
Yeah. So the CrossFit method started with, well, the idea is simply spend less time in the gym, but getting as fit as possible outside the gym. And it starts with this, well, kind of metabolic conditioning is, or it starts with nutrition, really. So when Greg Glassman wrote this together, he was mainly only doing personal training with clients, and then he was so popular that he started to group people together, like 2 and 2, and say like, well, you're kind of the same fitness level, and I think you would have a great time together, and you both would save a bit money if you would train together, and the coach would make more money per hour. So and he was not sure that would work out, but it seemed like, well, when people worked out together, they got even more fit. Like they pushed themselves a bit more, and they were more likely to come to. So okay, so that developed, and what he did with the training method was, well, we're going to work on, well, he was always talking about nutrition and, then working on skill development and metabolic conditioning as a method to, test your kind of your capacity to understand a new movement and so on. So having a short workout at the end, or work building up for that workout, mobility wise, skill wise, and then you do the workout. And sometimes the workout was very high intense, in that sense that was maybe just a max lift of the day, or it was a metabolic conditioning day, depending on the client, of course. But then, those people train maybe twice a week, 3 times a week, and got huge results from that. And that was like unheard of, that so many people got, pretty damn fit from not spending 3 hours at the gym, like, and not by doing like a lot of reps, like in bodybuilding. So okay, so then when the games came, that kind of changed the trajectory a bit of the training for some people. Like, okay, they started to understand that if I put more volume to this, I can out train the other one. So instead of training, once a day, I could train twice a day and work more on my recovery, even more on my nutrition. And then, you start working on those thresholds just to become, the fittest person on earth, maybe, basically. And that's threshold training to like at maximum peak. And they're still trying to figure out, right, how to squeeze in even more. And since it's kind of skills based, it is we still have some older athletes. Otherwise, like in a lot of sports, the athletes are usually younger. And we'll probably see that happening in CrossFit now too, when you have like much more younger people starting with it and coming into the sports. But yeah, still there's no magic leap in development. You need to go through all these skills, and you only have these amount of hours per day. So it becomes really like a threshold planning of your training, just like in any other sports. And just like any other sports, we can take football, for example. Well, if you play football twice a week, you're not going to play in Bayern München or in Manchester United and so on. It's like that's not going to happen. But you're still, you can still play football. And from CrossFit, if you do it with the intention of competing, well, that's a different mindset and a different way of planning your training. Whereas if you do this for your health and just for your general fitness, and I wrote like this email about this the other day. It's like, what are you getting fit for? And something that Carl Pauli also talks about, but like, what are you getting fit for? And if you're getting fit for Hyrox, well, then you need to do like Hyrox training. If you're getting fit for CrossFit games, well, then you need to do CrossFit games kind of training. That means preparing for those kind of days of events and everything. And if you want to just get as fit as possible with as least amount of time as possible, well, then training out 4 and 5 times a week will make you fitter than 99% of the population in your country, for sure. And not that much time spent even. So my goal was because somebody mailed me and shared his goal, and I said, well, my goal is, I don't know, my picture is like, I just want to be able to pick up my family, everyone. It's getting hard now, but all my 3 kids and my wife and I will just be able to pick them up and run a mile with them,
Yeah.
And so it requires me to be strong, and it requires me to have some endurance and yeah, uh, grip strength, everything.
Yep.
Not so much like super high skills in that sense, but that's kind of where I also find it interesting for me.
Interesting.
Mm.
Well, you just mentioned something that kind of, can go into the next question that I have about, training at home, and how can you realistically train at home effectively
Mm.
with, in Germany, all of our gyms are closed. So how can you train and actually kind of get what you want out of it?
Yeah. So basically, the benefit of the situation right now is that you don't have to travel anywhere, so you're not spending any time on traveling anywhere. So you should have a lot of spare time, for sure. What you need to do for your training is also, you don't like, this is the mindset shift, I would say, from training in a gym and training at home. Is, well, at home, maybe it's better to like have almost every day something, and maybe it's just 20 minutes, and one day you might have a bit more strength training, and one day you might have endurance training, or combined, for sure. And some days you might have like 2 days a week that are just skill based. There's nothing about getting your heart rate to your max or anything. No, it's just practice. Now, of course, you can, if you have more time, well, good, do both. Do some skills practice and do some endurance training. But basically you want to hit, like, from a physical anatomical standpoint, you want to hit as many human archetypes as possible. So overhead positions, you know basically doing the CrossFit movements will get you there. So
Right.
yeah, get something done every day. And I think the thing that people could do more of probably are the just more, a bit of skills training at home, because this kind of just doing sit-ups and squats and so on can, you get to a threshold where it's like, okay, if I do this for 20 minutes or 15 minutes, or like, okay, that's one thing. And for some trainings at home, it's nice to have this kind of lower pace, but also to see if you can get some really high intensity into it, where you have a maximum of 5 minutes where it's really requires your full input. And after those 5 minutes, you should not be able to do a 1K run or something again.
Right.
Yeah.
What is the difference between deliberate practice and intentional training?
So yeah, we touched on this a bit, but intentional practice is where you actually work on a specific skill, and you're not really, you're not working on your maximum output. You're not working on your or maximum output for sure, but it's more the neurological part of it. So practice is your brain has to practice. It's not your muscles. You should not go to muscle fatigue or anything. No, it's your brain needs to like try to figure out what's happening here. So that is the practice. And then training, that's more of the where the body
Right.
gets to its threshold,
Okay.
where you get to maybe muscle fatigue, and yeah, if it's like bodybuilding, well, it's to get to that max rep and blow out your muscles and so on.
So right now is kind of the time for deliberate practice, like
For sure.
double unders and stuff like that doesn't take up a lot of room, and it's kind of, and it's perfect. You can do it at home. It's kind of the unsexy stuff you can, screw up.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of also the problem right now, because if you are like me, I tend to not do the practice stuff because it's not because it's unsexy, but it requires definitely a much more willpower. And just to a stupid workout of just to run is super easy. Like, I don't have to think for a dime. It's like and I can just push myself as hard as I want there, and I'm gonna get there in, like, if I run slow or fast, and it's not going to make a big difference. So for me, it actually helps to have a program on that, and even having like outer accountability on it. So yeah, I mean, that's different from different persons. I know some people that are crazy good at practicing at home, and we had a coach here, Mate, who was really good at that. He was, he could lay around for half an hour and just try to figure out how the muscle in the back was engaging when he was doing leg lifts or something like that.
Wow.
So he was all into that, like, and I mean, Mark has also been also into more of that, like, what, figure out how the muscle is tensioning up or whatever. And yeah, but some people are just more prone to wanting to do that, and then someone like Matei, who was not super keen on just going out for a run, was the most boring thing. And like, I don't like, if you take running, that's also not my wheelhouse, but it just doesn't require any willpower at all. I need to put on my shoes. That's the biggest hurdle. And then I get out and I'm like, okay, now it's just start stumbling forward. Yeah. So I think it's yeah. It depends on who you are.
Yeah. Okay. What are you reading right now? What are you reading right now?
Oh, what I'm reading. I'm not reading something. I haven't read something now for maybe 2 or 3 weeks. But I actually I just bought new books.
Okay.
So I can tell you which they are. So I can tell you which ones are coming up. Let me check those out, because I just took. I'm not like super deliberate with it, but I'm more like, okay, I'm just gonna. If something pops up and it seems like something, I'm not gonna question if I'm gonna do it. Should I buy it? And so on. I just buy it, and then I have to go get myself through it. What are you reading at the moment?
I'm reading currently a book called The Prosperous Coach. It's kind of always on my desk, and I'm kind of going through chapters again by Steve Chandler. It's for coaching, whether it's corporate coaching, life coaching, transformational coaching, any kind of coaching. And it's, what I like about it is that it's not woo or anything. A lot of life coaching books tend to be like that, and it's really matter of fact. They kind of strip it down for you, how to get clients to pay you well, how to ask for a premium fee, or how to set your premium fee. And it's inspiring me, because it's not there's no bullshit in it. It's just, it is what it is. So I like that.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would definitely need to put that on my reading list then. So we'll have 3 books right now on my to-do list. It's Eric Barker's Barking Up the Wrong Tree.
Okay.
Ben Horowitz, What You Do Is Who You Are.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have Deep Work by Cal Newport.
Okay. And how did these books come to you?
I have no idea.
Okay. So, were they recommended or just
I think,
searching?
I think they come up like suggestions for me to read.
Okay.
And actually, some of these, I think I've seen them from some friend or so. I actually also have but I was certain I already read it, The Mindset by Carol Dweck. But it's also on there, I saw. Yeah, so looking forward to this. I have some more books coming up too, but let's see. Need to get through those.
Okay.
And yeah, let's see. Maybe some sci-fi books would be good too.
Okay. Sci-fi.
No, but just novel or something like that. So you read something else than just the self-developing and so on. Might be helpful sometimes.
Do you, if a book isn't resonating with you, will you read it to the end or will you stop?
No, I will. I stop. Like one good example is, I think the 12 Rules of Life, 12 Rules of Life by Jordan Peterson, which is like, I can listen to Jordan Peterson's lessons for, days and hours. They were great. But the book was so dry, I stopped at like the first rule, I think. So maybe I was in the wrong mindset, whatever. I might need to pick it up, and sometimes I do, and then it's just clicks. But sometimes you like, I mostly listen to books because that's the best way I use my commuting and so on. But yeah, it's it is pretty obvious, like in the first chapters, if it's like this is a lot of just you when you listen to books, you also realize if it's just a lot of fluff in the book, because sometimes like the American publishers, they get paid per word and not per book, so or per page or whatever it is. So it's like, well, they just fill up the pages with a lot of fluff instead of just getting to the core.
Yeah, absolutely.
So have you tried like Blinkist or so, these
is this like a Audible or like an audio book? I have to have it in my hand because I have to highlight.
I think like the best way to really learn is to sit and highlight and so on. But that is something I just don't get to doing right now.
I mean, definitely, getting through, you can get through so many books when you're in transit, right? But there is something about, wearing a book out that I love it.
My biggest problem with books is that I fall asleep immediately. I can listen to books, but if I start reading, this just sitting down and reading, that's it takes me a couple of sentences and then
you're out.
Then I'm out. So, and compare that to having a book, and I'm cooking, or I'm doing the laundry or something like that, or cleaning. It's like, wow, that's the best part with the cleaning and whatever. It's just I'm having this great time.
Yeah, I guess that's absolutely true. I do. I mean, I listen to podcasts when I'm cleaning or when I'm in transit. So maybe I should switch to books and I'd get through more books.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, sometimes it's just a very easy way to kind of skim through a book,
Yeah.
and then you're like, okay, that's a good book. I need to read that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which I think most people like. Something I heard. I don't know who said this, but to you buy the physical book, you buy the audiobook, and then you read the book at the same time as you're listening to
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
And you put it on like triple speed, blah, 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 blah. And that's supposed to be like a really good way to
Absorb the information.
Yeah.
Be like reading subtitles.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny. Well, if any people listening have any book recommendations, we would always be happy to take into consideration what you're reading.
Yeah.
And
We can have our book club.
yeah, we could have a little book club. That's a good idea. All right. Well, thank you so much. We'll wrap it up here.
Yeah. Thank you. Maybe try out a Hyrox workout.
Yeah. We'll see. I think I did one in the first lockdown. I think I did like one like burpee workout. It was just tons of burpees. That's all. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like, Murph is basically also a Hyrox workout. So
Sure is. Yeah.
Again, I don't know if they do pull-ups, but anyway,
Yeah.
until next time.
Until next time. Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.